What is up? We are wrestling maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host, the best one, Donnie, here with my co-host.
What is going on, everybody? The new official co-host for the We Are Wrestling talk show, Danny Huckins, man, just did a live stream. We watched Revolution, man. It was a great fucking show.
Yes, it was. It was a great show, and we're gonna start doing these now after each pay-per-view, if the pay-per-view is worthy enough for us to review. So you all know you're gonna get 4 a year with AEW, obviously, after
Obviously.
tonight's show. But yeah, this is gonna be a new thing that we're gonna do. It's separate from the We Are Wrestling talk show. This is We Are Wrestling reviews. So, of course, if you're not a We Are Wrestling maniac yet, help support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course, you already know the grind is real, baby. Had to
Hey,
add,
man.
had to add
But
some Adam Cole in there.
obviously, that was a great match. We'll get through the entire card, man. But I feel like, since the first time that we've actually filmed a video together, we hit over 400 subscribers, man, in like 24 hours.
Growing. We are growing huge, and we might even be getting 500 with tomorrow. Definitely. It's getting very crazy. So we want to thank all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide for supporting us. We know a lot of you are subscribing because of that Try Not to Laugh video. It's
Yeah, man.
hilarious. But we are still going to continue to do what we do, and that is talk about professional wrestling, give you guys wrestling vlogs, wrestling figure reviews, and who the hell knows, maybe some more Try Not to Laughs. So let us know in the comment section below who would you want to see in a little Try Not to Laugh.
All right, man. Let's get into the show, man, because there's
Oh,
so
yeah.
much that we have to talk
So
about.
much we got to talk about in short time. So here we go. Starting off with the AEW Revolution pre-show, the buy-in, that's what they call it in AEW. We start off with legit Layla Hurst versus Chris Statlander. During this match, they legit Layla Hurst beat Chris Statlander. You actually predicted that correctly. What were
Yes,
your
I
thoughts
did.
on their match?
I thought it was a nice back and forth match. She did remind me a lot of Shayna Baszler. There was a lot of submission movements going on. She actually did win the match in I guess you could say in like a sort of like a DQ fashion. She did use an instrument of some sort, like a wrench, a really big wrench. But hey, man, I told you during the prediction video that she was gonna win. I knew the direction that the story was gonna go, so I pretty much predicted that.
Hey,
My prediction came true.
Hey, you're right. You got that prediction correctly. I will say, Layla Hurst, she has gotten so much better in the ring. I used to watch some of her dark matches and when she first debuted with AEW, but wow, this match, Layla Hurst looked really freaking good. I
Yep.
definitely could see a future TBS champion out of her. And I think overall, this was like, I think really freaking good to where this could have actually been on the pay per view. That's how good
Yeah,
these two did.
I think so too.
It went. I think it went beyond like my expectations, definitely. Because after that first match, I was like, okay, they are setting the example for tonight. Great
Yeah,
way to
exactly.
start. Out of that match, I gotta give it like a 4 out of 5, definitely for that because it was actually really good. No botches, really. Chris Statlander looked really good, like she always does. Layla Hurst is really craving her own path with this heel run. I actually enjoyed it. It was a fun match to start.
Yeah. I don't necessarily like. I've never rated like a wrestling event because I feel like a rating system is sort of subjective. Everybody has their own different opinions or whatever. So I
Yeah.
don't really feel like it's good to give a rating on something, especially if you're not technically in the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Um,
you know what? Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree. You have a really good point there.
but overall, man, the match was great. It definitely set the tone for the rest of the evening, and I mean, it was good. It was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. So now going on into our second buy-in match, we had QT Marshall versus Hook. This was Hook's actual first pay-per-view match, and he won by submission.
Yeah, Hook, for those of you that don't know, Taz's son, so obviously, he, had to use his dad's, finishing maneuver to finish off QT Marshall. There was a lot of suplexes, there was a lot of, back and forth in this. I did feel like QT Marshall did get the upset on Hook a couple of times or whatever, but Hook, he came back fighting, like a blaze of glory, man. He came out just suplexing QT Marshall everywhere. It was a pretty solid match, and I love the demeanor of Hook because he just whipped QT Marshall's ass, then he just walks out of the ring. The referee doesn't even raise his hand. He just walks out and walks to the back. It's like
Love his character.
he just goes there, whips ass, and then fucking leave. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't necessarily want to compare him to him, but it kind of reminded me of like the same demeanor that Stone Cold had back in the Attitude Era. You know what I mean? He went to the ring, did what he had to do, then got the fuck out.
That's a really good comparison. Like, I would say definitely attitude wise, like that attitude change, like he
Yeah,
could turn it from 0 to 100 real quick as soon as that bell rings, which is really cool. I think that they definitely protected Hook in this match by having him go against his former trainer. QT Marshall, for a lot of people, really don't like him. And I think that's why I like him as a heel. He's just one of those solid heels that you just look at the guy and you just don't like him wearing his
yeah,
freaking bowling shirts and freaking khakis. And like he's just one of those old school heels, which I think I really like a lot. This was a good, solid overall match. I think it's cool to actually see Hook struggle a little bit because I know with his matches on Rampage, he's been squashing everybody that he faces, which is great because it helps build the character. But now that we're actually on pay per view, he's going against a worthy competitor right now in his level with QT Marshall. I think this was a great overall match that they had. And I think putting Hook on the buy in, great decision by AEW because they want to continue to give Hook that exposure because not everybody tunes into Rampage. Like if you look at the ratings, Rampage is at usually 700 to 800,000 viewers per
yeah.
episode. Unless it's like the live ones, and sometimes they can hit 1 million. But Dynamite usually hits like 900,000 to like 1 million. So like you definitely know there's some people that don't watch it on Fridays. But that's the thing. I believe that overall it is a great way to start off Hook.
Yeah, I've been telling you for a couple of weeks actually since I did come on and start being your co-host or whatever the show that I do think they need to put Rampage on its own night. Have it either 7 to 9 or 8 to 10 or whatever. Give it that 2 hour time slot. Have it go live or whatever because like it's cool whatever like one of the easiest hour of television to get through. And I watched Rampage on Friday night and it was a fantastic show. I think I'm gonna switch over to Rampage instead of SmackDown because SmackDown is just atrocious.
I agree.
But I do think a lot more eyes will be on Rampage once it gets put on his own time slot or whatever.
It needs 2 hours. I agree with you on that.
But I like this match, man. I like Hook's demeanor. I'm wondering when or what they're waiting for. Like Hook is over like I've never seen anybody. You know what I mean?
It's cool.
Everybody's just chanting his name, and it just seemed like he was just like instead of like looking at the people, he was looking through them. Like he was out there for a mission. He was out there to accomplish something, and he made it happen. I don't know why they're not putting the
Yeah.
guy on Dynamite.
And that's the thing I think I really like about Hook is that they're actually putting him on Rampage, so it's like he's becoming his own on there. So like on
Yeah,
Dynamite, they put these little packages together of Hook, and it like kind of like hypes you up to like see him on Friday. And I think he is like a reason why like Rampage is actually getting some viewers, surprisingly. I think that
yeah.
he does have a little part in that. I think they have to continue to keep pushing him like this. I say don't throw him in yet with the big wolves. Definitely keep building him slowly. Let him maybe go through the factory. And I think his next big opponent should be probably that I think his name's Anthony Ogogo. He's the
Yep.
British guy there because he has a pretty good record. I think the only match he ever lost was Cody, but I think that would be a good worthy opponent for Hook that they could put on a pretty good match. I think
Yeah, but the match that Anthony had with Cody, everybody was saying it was pretty much a botch fest, and he had no
it was a
business being
dumpster
in the ring.
fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but I'm just saying like from AEW because they do look at Anthony like he has a lot of potential, and I think like now that it's been like a year exactly now, since he's last wrestled, they might say, you know what? Let's give Anthony a shot and let's have him go against Hook. Because he's already like a guy that nobody likes, Anthony. So he is a solid heel, so they can. I think it's just a slow build with Hook is probably the best thing that they can do.
Probably, but either way, I liked what he did, and I think he definitely, he's definitely garnered himself a fan base, man. He's just like his father. I do wish he would put a little bit more muscle mass on him, to make him a little bit more menacing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
definitely he's got to get some more muscle gain. I agree with that. I will say though, from when he first debuted AEW to now, he did put on some muscle, which is good.
yeah,
But he definitely's got to get a little bit more now. He's got to start drinking that milk. All right, so now moving
like
on
Kurt
to
Angle.
Kurt Angle, yes. So now moving on to our last match of the buy-in, which this was announced on Rampage before we actually recorded our prediction video.
Yeah.
We have the House of Black, Malachi, Brody, and Buddy Matthews versus Death Triangle. We had Penta, Pac, and Eric Redbeard. How did you feel about this match?
I really liked it, man. The fact that Eric Redbeard, man, Eric Rowan. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the little boss that Tony Schiavone did. He did call him Rowan. But Eric Redbeard, man, he's all elite. I don't know what else to say. Um, he's sort of like a dark character in himself. I don't know why he's with Pac and Penta. Part of it makes sense, and then part of it's like it's a weird choice. You know
It's a
what I mean?
very weird. I would think that he would go to like Dark Order in honor of Brody Lee. You
Yeah.
know what's hilarious? Because my brother he came, he watched the show for like an hour, and then he got tired because he had some edibles, so like he just wasn't there. And
He just wasn't
so
there.
yeah, so basically, when Eric Redbeard came out and they said Eric Redbeard, my brother went, "What the fuck? That's Eric Rowan." And then I'm like, "No, that's Eric Redbeard." And then he says, "Eric Redbeard's the stupidest fucking name I ever heard." And I'm like, "Well, it's Eric Redbeard now."
Wasn't that his name on the Indies for a while? Is that why? That's why
He's
his
been
name is
doing. He's
Eric
been.
Redbeard.
Yeah, that's why. Like after WWE, he put it as Eric Redbeard. Felt like he just was like, whatever. I have a red beard, so Eric Redbeard.
I mean, the dude's a monster. Are you gonna go up and be like his name? Your name sucks. He'll fucking eat you.
Yeah, exactly. So with that match, I will say I was a little surprised. I will say one critique I definitely had. The match itself, beautiful. Great freaking match. I loved everybody that was in that match. But the one thing, and I think I critiqued this in my reaction video, that manager of Penta there, Alex. I
I
can't
can't
really
remember
pronounce
his.
his
I
last
can't
name
remember
very
his. I can't
good.
remember his last
I'm
name
just gonna
either.
say Alex. So I did not like the costume Alex was wearing. I thought it looked very goofy. It looked like a little kid going freaking trick or treating.
You could
I
call
see
him
what they're
ass.
I see what they were trying to do with Alex in this, but I don't know. It came off a little goofy to me. But besides that, this match was so freaking good from start to finish. I think even Buddy Matthews looked really freaking good in there.
Dude,
Everybody,
he's gotten jacked since he left WWE.
he looks good. He looks really freaking good. I think that that match was really good with that six man. A nice, fun match. You know, I wish that, like, Eric Redbeard thing, it makes sense, but it doesn't really make sense. We all know it's probably because of Ray Phoenix being injured, because it definitely would have been Ray Phoenix there if he
Yep.
was healthy.
But
And I
Ray
believe he's coming
Phoenix,
back in a couple weeks.
yeah, I was about to say because Ray Phoenix, like I heard probably like a month ago that he was doing fine and he had just started going back to the gym or whatever to rehab his arm a little bit. Everybody speculated that because of Luchasaurus, he broke his arm when he got
Yeah, when that
chokeslammed
choke
through the
slam.
table. But apparently, I mean, it looked nasty and brutal, but apparently it's not broken. So hopefully we see him in the next couple weeks.
Do you think Eric Redbeard is all elite? Because I don't think Tony or AEW actually like said anything about
It
that.
says on his Wikipedia that he signed to AEW. He signed to All Elite Wrestling. So I mean, I go by that until I get any more confirmation. So I don't know.
Hey, so here's how we can find out. Okay, so there's an entire of AEW roster. It's very stacked. We all know they added more people to the thing, which we'll talk about later in the show.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just say if we don't see Eric Redbeard on Dark or Elevation in 2 weeks, then he's probably not signed with AEW.
I mean, there's always that possibility, but I mean, whether
Yeah,
he's
we'll
signed or
see.
not signed, I think he's
It's
signed,
still a
dude.
great opportunity.
He's
It's still a great opportunity though for him, which is well deserving.
yeah. I think he signed. I think the good thing about AEW though is they have a working relationship with all these different promotions, all these different things. So it's like just because he's signed doesn't mean he's stuck with AEW. He can go to New
He can go
Japan, do a
anywhere he
couple things.
wants.
He can go to Impact. He can go to Ring of Honor when it starts back up or whatever.
Man,
I
I love
mean,
the freedom of AEW. It's great. Like literally, we went to a Blitzkrieg Pro show. Max Caster had the time of his life there, and
mhm.
it was cool. Evo Uno even enjoyed himself as well. Like
Evil Uno,
I like how they
Evil
can
Uno
just go
just
on.
posted. Evil Uno just posted a new vlog. Did you watch it yet? I want to know if
I haven't yet.
I want to know if any part of the Blitzkrieg show was in it. I haven't watched it. It's like 25 minutes. I
Yeah.
haven't watched it either.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to take a check at it tomorrow if I don't fall asleep. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the regular show here. We start off with Kenny Kingston versus I was about to say
Eddie,
Triple H. Eddie Kingston defeated Chris Jericho by submission. So it was Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho.
you want
How
to know
did you
why you
feel?
got you want to know why you got a little bit of confused? Because
Why?
during the pre-show, everybody thought that Kenny Omega was going to show up, but it was Don Callis. So
Yes, that's like why. And how did you feel actually about the Don Callis thing before like?
part of me knew that Kenny Omega wasn't going to show up tonight, but like after that happened and all the shit that Don Callis was saying, I was like, I mean, could he have will he show up in the main event at some point? But didn't end up happening. I do know over the last couple weeks he has been doing some big shows or whatever for Impact. So I think Kenny Omega. It's only a matter of time before he comes back.
Yeah, I was so disappointed.
I know
Like when
Tony Schiavone. Tony
When
Schiavone
Don
was like, we have a special guest, and then Don Callis.
I know. But here's the thing why I was so disappointed in that. Because friggin' when Don Callis came out, I was so ready out for the main event. I'm like, at the end of this, Kenny Omega is actually coming, and I can come
Mm-hmm.
on here and I can just brag and talk my crap, saying I called it, Daddy. But nope. Karma's a bitch, and nope, I got it absolutely wrong. But hey, Don Callis came back, so that means Kenny might be getting old. He might be recovering. So there's only a matter of
Definitely.
time before he shows up in AEW. Maybe double or nothing. Maybe. Unless he's already ready. But well, hey, we'll see. We got, I think, 2 months for that. 2 or 3 months.
There's always that possibility. Double or nothing is it's like in March, right? Or May
May.
after
Yep.
it's like after Mania. So I mean we're gonna have to wait and see.
Oh yeah. So now let's get into Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho, the opening match for Revolution.
Great match, man. Great match. Jericho got in shape. He everybody on social media have been talking. Jericho's let himself go. He has a dad bod or whatever. You can tell the dude put in serious work. Those chops, man, they were fucking chopping each other half of the fucking match.
Oh my
Do you
god, their
see
whole
how,
chest was red. That was
dude? It was.
crazy.
And then fucking Kingston kept being like, "Come on, come on, come on! I want more!" And like just going absolutely crazy, like a typical New Yorker.
Yeah, no, I felt like that was like a fun match. That really was. I think it was way better than I expected. I think them putting it in the opening match was a great spot for that match because I felt like if it was after, like it was just if it was in the middle of the show or something, I feel like fans would have just not paid attention because you
Mm-hmm.
got to realize they're there from 7 to freaking midnight watching wrestling. So there has to be some points where someone's got to say, I got to go piss that beer I just drank, or I just like want to go on Twitter and just keep my voice for the next match. So I feel like
I
this was a great spot to put the opening match.
I saw a bunch of famous vloggers and YouTubers in the front row. But
Yes,
yeah,
dude,
man.
Pickle Boy was there, and
Yep.
Grim's Toy Show, right?
Yep.
Yep, I saw them. I think that was like match 2 or 3 where I actually saw him. I'm like, wait, is that fucking Pickle Boy?
Yep. His name's like kid behind the camera or whatever. At one point,
Yeah.
you could see him with his camera. You could tell he was vlogging.
Yeah,
So
he had his
we're
little
gonna
camera.
we're gonna have to check out that video when it comes out. But overall,
Yeah.
man, this match was great. It's a great it was a great match to start out with because it was a match people were excited for, but they weren't really they were into it, but it wasn't something like a Moxley and Danielson or
Yeah.
Punk versus MJF. But it was still a good match. I was looking forward to this match. I believe I got this prediction right as well because I said that Jericho was
Eddie.
going to end up putting over Eddie because Jericho has a bunch of concerts lined up, so he's going to be taking some time away from AEW for a while, and this was a
Yep.
perfect lead off to get him to be able to do that, put over Kingston, so hopefully Kingston gets a bigger push on TV.
Yeah, which I know I did say in my prediction, Eddie Kingston, the part that I was wrong about was him turning heel, which I think this was a great decision that they're kind of turning Jericho heel. I feel like Jericho, like they have to. They have to give
Yep.
Jericho more of an edge. I feel like Jericho's at his best when it comes to being a heel because he can be that comedy heel like he was in the Orange Cassidy rivalry and MJF
You
rivalry.
remember when he was a heel back in WWE when he was the undisputed champion and he had the fucking braided hair with the like red tip, and he
That
was
was
just
great.
like, just talking shit about a bunch of people. It was awesome.
Jericho, I feel like he's a really good babyface, but like when it comes to being a heel, like he's on another level, just like Edge. He's on another level when it comes to being a
But
heel.
I feel like he's so over with the crowd. I don't think people will like him as a heel. Like
But
like
here's the
whenever
thing.
he whenever he comes out, you hear the entire fucking crowd singing his song or whatever. It's like that's like the thing to do now. It's been like that for over
ever
a
since
year now.
ever since he arrived in AEW. But here's the thing. Jericho, when it comes to his character, he will do whatever he can to do what he's got to do. And if that means cutting Judas off and putting on like no music, he's going to do that. If it's freaking, even like he might make a new song with his band Fozzy and people might just freaking hate it. You never know with Jericho because when he was a heel back in WWE, like when it came to his merchandise, he refused to have WWE make merchandise for him because he's a bad guy. That's what he believed in, just like Bubba Ray.
I mean,
And I think,
I could definitely see it, but we're just gonna have to wait and see.
yeah, but then again, Jericho might just not give a fuck. He'd rather be a bad guy and then just still let them sing to Judas.
Or Jericho could be legitimately pissed off, like I had to put over this fucking guy.
Hey, he
Who
did shake his
knows,
hand at the end, so we'll actually see what the hell happens here.
dude?
Great storytelling, though.
I can't wait until Dynamite, dude. I want to know like the aftermath. I want to know what happens. I wish Dynamite was tomorrow, man.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can even watch Raw tomorrow because of how good this Revolution is. And I'm like, whew, I'm out of it with sleep. And I got to work my regular job in like 6 hours. Time we're recording this. Well, 5 hours now. But yeah, so I don't think I'll be watching Raw tomorrow. And if I do, it'll probably be me sleeping. So if you guys want me to upload a reaction of me sleeping to Raw, smash that like button now. But, let's move on to the next match. So with the next match, it was for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We had Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus versus Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly versus the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. And the winners of that match, and they retained the championships, Jurassic Express. How did you feel about this match, Danny?
I honestly didn't think Jurassic Express was going to pull out a victory. I mean, when you're in a
Right?
match between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, like, I mean, that just the odds seem like they're stacked against you. I think I said it in my prediction video. I was like, there's no way Jurassic Express could win this match. But, I mean, they
You
shut me
know,
the fuck up real quick.
you know what's crazy? That's like the same exact reaction I had in this match. I'm like, there's no way Jurassic Express is going to win because not only is it Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, but you also have the most friggin' scariest guy on the friggin' being the on the Elite, and that's friggin' Brandon Cutler with that friggin' spray and that vlog camera. Man, he was out there helping them as well. And I think that like I really thought that Jurassic Express looked really fucking good in this
Oh,
match.
yeah, me too.
Luchasaurus, like, took his game to a whole nother level tonight. And like, I feel like he got more over than he's ever been with like all the kicks he did, all the freaking flips, and then like even
The
getting the choke
springboard
slam.
moonsault on the outside.
Dude, Luchasaurus stole that show right there, that match right there. That was all eyes on Luchasaurus. And
That
then
dude is that dude is so good, man.
Man, and Jungle Boy too, and like their finisher was amazing. Like my brother who doesn't watch AEW, my friend Jordan who doesn't watch AEW, and my dad who doesn't watch wrestling really, they watched that finisher and they jumped off their seats. They're like, holy shit. And the only words I had to say was Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock, TBS. This is what you get when you watch this. And I feel like there's so many WWE marks out there. It don't matter. Like, you can have friggin' some legend appear, and then you're going to get a WWE mark that messages you, oh my God, Ric Flair is on Monday Night Raw. And then it's like, we're just like us, the real We Are Wrestling Maniacs. We're like, who gives a fuck? We watch freaking Ric Flair's on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, man. Luchasaurus. I mean, for a big guy, you know, he's so athletic. So you know, his agility is off the charts. Like the dude. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon because I do know he's, you know, he did some work on the Indies or whatever, you know, and he's in this thing with Jungle Boy. I feel like maybe he needs to get away from this dinosaur gimmick, away from Jurassic Express. And I mean, he could definitely be a main eventer, dude. Like, he is fucking like, could you imagine him against Adam Page or Adam Cole or fucking CM Punk or Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson,
Man,
you know, John Moxley? Like,
this
I
this
think
this might like trigger a couple people when I say this here. I don't think it'll trigger you, but I
probably not.
see so much like young Kane in Luchasaurus, except just a little bit more athletic. Here's what I think should
And
happen
more
down.
green.
Yeah, definitely down the. Yeah, you are kind of right about that. Down the line, I say like you keep Jurassic Express for at least a couple more years. You have to, and then what they need to do, honestly, because I know because Jungle Boy is I think still under 25, and when he gets to his prime years, like he's going to be competing for the World Championship and probably TNT Championship. What they have to do is Jungle Boy. I'm never going to see as a heel. We're never going to see Jungle Boy as a heel. Luchasaurus, though, on the other hand, they could probably turn that whole mask like dark, like red, black, or something, and then he can turn on Jungle Boy and
That's
do
what I'm
something.
saying, Bo.
Not
Like
right now, though.
no, but I get like Jurassic Express is a big tag team. You know, the tag team champions. They're over with the crowd. Everybody loves them. But do you want them to really be like a New Day or an Usos to where like they're together and they're a good tag team? They're solid workers, but they just it's overplayed. You know what I mean? I don't feel
Yeah.
like I don't. I mean, even if they do split up, they can always go back together at some point. But I feel like if you leave them together for too long, you know, people will be like, okay, it's these guys again. You know what I mean?
No,
I
okay,
don't want that
I'll
to
tell
happen.
you. I will tell you right now who makes me feel like, oh, it's these guys again. Best friends.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Trent Chuck at first in AEW. I actually really liked him. And then Orange Cassidy being added to the mix was perfect. But then when they added friggin' Yuta and Chris Statlander, I was like, and Rocky Romero, I'm like, come on, like this is
Kind
too
of
much.
makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. And I think like Trent as a heel would be really freaking good. And I don't know. I just don't see the point in Best Friends. And Danhausen's probably about to be freaking a part of Best Friends as well,
Oh,
which
yeah.
will be pretty dumb.
Dan Housing, because you know he played a really big critical role in the ladder match that we're going to be talking about in a little while.
Yeah. But overall, though, with this match, I think Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, I loved how they also showed lots of tension there between each other. I think just overall, it's good that Jurassic Express won this because their title reign is still kind of like not been that long.
They only won the
And
titles in December.
yeah, so it's only been 3 months, and I think not yet. And I think this also works with storylines as well because, of course, you got to show the tension with Young Bucks and Adam Cole and
Yep.
Red Dragon, which if Red Dragon wasn't going to win the belts, I feel like Adam Cole shouldn't have won the belt either in that case because they want to show tension with the group,
One of my
especially
favorite
before Kenny Omega comes.
one of my favorite spots of this match, man, and you probably know the one I'm talking about. It's where I the Young Bucks, I'm a fan of them, but I'm not like overly enthusiastic about them. So like Matt and Nick, I kind of mix them up or whatever. But I think it was Nick. He has like the darker hair, right? Um,
Nope, that's Matt.
oh, that's Matt. Well, Matt then he was going for the pin. He like knocked out Jungle Boy really good. He went for the pin, and then Kyle O'Reilly stopped it, and then they got into a little like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like that was
That
like
was a
that
good
add,
spot.
that added that tension, you know.
And that's like what they have to continue to do with this because it's only a matter of time before Adam Cole and Red Dragon they turn on the Elite and they create a rivalry storyline there, which will
Yep.
probably be I could see that being honestly the first like trios championship like match probably. And that can crown maybe the new champions eventually. Who
Yeah.
knows? But I feel like that was a really good match and I said that in my prediction video that I believe that the this match was going to like steal the show. It had that potential, and I think
Hmm.
it did. I
I think it
absolutely
did too.
enjoyed
There
it.
was a lot of good spots, a lot of high flying maneuvers, and I mean, I feel like it fit because a lot of the guys in the match, outside of like probably Luchasaurus, you wouldn't really necessarily consider him a high flyer, but a lot of the other guys are small, they're athletic, and Luchasaurus pretty much, he proved that he can
We,
hang with them.
we had all around. We had high flyers. We had technical wrestling. We had the big guys. Like we had the one big guy, and like
Hmm.
overall, it was a really cool mix of different styles of wrestling in there. And I think when you do that on an AEW, like you get fucking magic.
Yep.
So now, moving on to our next match of the night, it is the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future shot at the AEW TNT Championship match. We had Wardlow versus Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks and versus Christian Cage. And the Face of the Revolution, who grabbed that beautiful freaking pool float, was Wardlow. And I predicted it, baby!
Yeah, you predicted it, man. I thought I
Got
thought it
it!
was I thought it was gonna be like Keith Lee, man, because I mean, to me at the time it made sense. But this was such a great match, dude. And I have to give it out to somebody that we mentioned earlier in the show, Orange Cassidy, man. He was doing so many like different like maneuvers and using so many different ways of getting up to grab the brass ring. It was hilarious, man. He was
Oh my
like definitely the
Oh
comedic
my
factor of the
god.
match.
When he did like the pull-ups on the ladder and then like he flipped over, that was so creative. And then after that, he started getting like his ass beat the whole
Yeah.
time, which I felt like they needed to have a little guy like him in there because you had monsters. So like you could just have Keith Lee, Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs just throw him around like a freaking used fucking piece of gum. I
What
thought
about
overall it was great. It was a fun match.
what about when it's Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Keith Lee, and they're just having a stare down in the middle of the ring. Ricky Starks is out. Orange Cassidy, everybody seems thinks he's out, and then Orange Cassidy comes rolling right in the ring, and he just stands right in the middle of them and just starts doing his little kick maneuver. And Keith Lee, you can see him. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" Yeah, he was
Orange
the comedic.
Cassidy,
He
you
was the
have to
comedic
have that.
factor.
Like this match, like it's supposed to be a fun match. Like it wasn't like they all were having a crazy rivalry and stuff. Like, yeah, the stakes are high. You're going to get a shot at the TNT Championship, but also like on this card, you already have your crazy storylines
Yeah,
with obviously our World Championship match and the dog collar match and Eddie Kingston,
great show.
Jericho. So you can't have everything be the same. And in this match, it was just a nice, fun overall match. I love the spot with friggin' Ricky Starks when he did the spear through the friggin' ladder like that. I was like, holy shit. Christian
Yeah.
looked really good, and it's like, damn, Christian's really wrestling a ladder match in 2022. Holy shit.
He made a career off of himself. By the way, I do want to say, but I don't want anybody to give a shit. YouTube is very strict on the kind of substances. I'm drinking root beer, not actual alcohol. So, it looks like a glass bottle. So people automatically assume that you're getting drunk on camera. Anyway, one of the most hellacious spots of the match was when Wardlow did the power bomb to Ricky Starks on the ladder. Dude, he landed on his neck, man. I thought his neck broke.
It looked good. Ricky Starks made that shit look really good, and I love how they did that where Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee were fighting right by the commentary, and then
Yep,
to kind of not make Keith Lee look bad, they just had Wardlow basically push the two, so they fell into tables, and I think that was a good way to kind of like protect Keith Lee because Keith Lee's got to get some more matches on Dynamite, Rampage,
I agree.
Elevation, so that then he can have a shot at the title by getting some wins. He's
Yep.
still undefeated technically, hasn't been pinned, hasn't been submitted. I don't think he was buried at all in this situation. Wardlow looked great, and I think that honestly, like if you really look at all these guys that were in this match, seriously, Wardlow is the face of the Revolution. Like I see the next Batista in this guy if they can keep booking him properly. And we'll definitely talk about MJF and CM Punk. I am so happy with the way that they have built Wardlow to this point.
Yeah, I definitely think
Future
it'll
world
add.
champion.
I definitely think it'll add a lot to the story, especially as we get further into the show. More will be revealed over the mindset of Wardlow going into Dynamite this coming Wednesday.
Man, the
Um,
Power Bomb Symphony, that is such a cool way to get over.
yep.
Just power bombing the freaking guy like 10 times. Whoever came up with that, man, that's like impressive. I heard Jericho, I think, was the one that suggested him doing it.
Do you think this match was sort of like a dig at WWE or Vince McMahon though? Because Vince McMahon is imaginary brass ring, and it was a gold ring, not brass. But do you think that was sort of like a big fuck you? I don't know.
Yeah, no, nah, because I believe last year they did that. I
No.
think it was the same thing, but this time around, I'm not gonna lie, this thing that was on the in the ladder match, like it actually looked like a friggin' pool float.
Yeah, it kind of did.
That's like the first thing my girlfriend said, like when we were watching it. She was like, "Is that a pool float?" And I'm like, "That kind of does look like a pool float." But then the more closer you get to it, then you like kind of see like it's just like made of like metal or something.
Yeah, man. But overall, solid match. Definitely a worthy match to be on the card. Definitely.
That was great. So now moving on to our next match is for the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill with Smart Mark Sterling versus Ty Conti with Anna Jay. And Jade Cargill is 29-0, and she retained her TBS Championship. How do you feel?
Just like I said in my prediction video, man. Like, even though Jade is, I guess you can consider her green because she hasn't been in the business that long, but she has a certain look that a lot of people like. Whenever you think of pro wrestling, you think of, like going back to the days of like ODB from Impact, China, which she was part of DX or whatever. She just has that look about her, that wow factor. You know what I mean? Because you don't expect a woman to look like her.
She
So
looks like a goddess.
I kind of knew I told you in my prediction video I knew she was gonna win. It just didn't make any sense for the story for Tay Conti to beat her.
No, I agree. Ty Conti will be a future TBS champion, but right now, with the streak that they have, that they clearly do care about, because every time she wins, they pretty much do like the lightning bolt with the new record, which
Yep.
they did in this match. It was 29-0 afterwards. It popped up on the Titantron there. This was a lot better than I expected it to be. I think Jade Cargill looked really good in this match. And I feel like the reason why a lot of people say like she's like not the best is because I feel like her wrestling style is it's like old school women's wrestling. And not a lot of women nowadays do that. A lot of
Yep.
them are adjusting. They want to try new things and stuff. But Jade Cargill, she's very old school. Like when it comes to like her moves, like if she hits you with like a slam, that slam is going to impact you
Yep.
compared to like doing like 10 Canadian destroyers and tombstone pile drivers.
Yeah, but overall it was a good solid match. Jade, she did her thing. She a lot of the super. There was a lot of super kicks in this show, man. A lot of super. Everybody was doing
Tombstones.
fucking super kicks.
Yeah, super kicks, tombstones, and I believe Canadian destroyers.
Yeah, there was a lot on this fucking show, but like each participant did it in a unique way. They didn't, they tried different things or whatever to make it fresh. But overall, man, this was a pretty solid match. It's not one of those matches to where you expected a lot, but you expected to be entertained, and I feel like everybody was entertained by it.
Yeah, and I think definitely with one thing I will say, I do have a critique in this match. The only thing that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever was when Anna Jay hit the chair at Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Because I thought Jade Cargill is the heel and they're the face. So for me, that did not make any sense at all. But besides that, this was still a good overall match.
Yeah, definitely. I understand where you're coming from.
Now, the next match right here. We have the dog collar match. CM
Ugh.
Punk versus MJF. CM Punk defeated MJF by pinfall.
The build going into this match, man, like just the storytelling over the last like 3 months at least, like this is what you call long-term booking, man. And I feel like this was, I mean, I didn't end this match like being like, is this gonna be the end of the feud? Or like where are they gonna go from here? Like do you think this is the end of it, or do you think they're gonna continue on? I mean, I couldn't tell by the end of the match.
Here's when I knew. And this was one of my favorite parts in this match. CM Punk's ROH entrance. That was absolutely amazing, which I will be having a reaction video to that probably coming up after this video, and then after that there will probably be just more reactions coming up tomorrow, probably after 3-4 o'clock. I think just, man, overall, like, this match was really good, but CM Punk coming out to freaking his song, The Final Battle, that I think really represented like this match. Like CM Punk, like this was his entrance was absolutely amazing. The old style gear that he wore when he first started wrestling, that was amazing. And just Punk and MJF, they put on a great dog collar match.
Yeah, but when you really like get down to the bare bones of it, the entire feud, came to be because of older CM Punk or whatever. You know what I mean? Like when
Yes.
MJF was a kid, he met MJF at his autograph signing, and apparently, MJF idolized him as a kid, like a lot of kids did. And when he left, he felt a little bit disappointed, and obviously, he molded MJF into being MJF, like the MJF we know. So I mean, it made perfect sense. I'm not familiar with anything that Punk did in Ring of Honor, so I wasn't sure. Like, I was like, did they change his music? Like, I knew it was new music, but I wasn't sure, like, if it was new or if it was old. I didn't, know
You
anything
know,
about it.
I will say this, like, when the music started, I was like, holy shit. Because I knew this because back then on my oldest channel there, Donald's the Best One, DITB1, I actually used CM Punk's ROH song for one of my cast members in a return video that he did. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, I feel like they're probably just gonna do this for a little bit, and then he's just gonna come out to best his cult of personality, because they did that with Edge usually with like the Brood. He'll come
Yep.
out halfway and then his regular song. But no, they actually came out with the whole song, and I thought the crowd was just like, holy shit! Like
It
this
fit.
is the because the last time CM Punk came out like that was 2005. So
2005 was a long time ago, man.
I think that's just such a beautiful moment, and it just like if you look at MJF's eyes and them two with the collar, like just playing that song like in your head, watching this match, it's like wow, this is the final battle for now. And
I
I
feel
think
like I feel like it was sort of like, yes, I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like it also put CM Punk, because obviously, back when he was in ROH, he had a different mentality than he does now. Now that
yeah,
he's older, he's seen the world, he's done a lot in his career. But I feel like using that song also put him back in that mind spot. You know what I mean? That mind slot to where he was like, "I'm gonna go out and destroy this motherfucker. This motherfucker's trying to take my spot." And I need to not let that happen.
Yeah, and I really like that for a one-off. That was so freaking
So
awesome.
much blood.
Yes, there was a
It was
lot of
just
blood.
brutal, dude. That ring took a beating tonight.
Yeah, it did. And I think one thing I really liked in this match was definitely the thumbtacks getting involved. I thought that that brought some more craziness into it. And I thought that, wow, like even the ending of this match, having Wardlow, like having trouble finding the ring, and then he finds it afterwards, gives it to Punk. That was the perfect fucking time to turn Wardlow face. And now MJF doesn't have to focus on CM Punk because what's the point of him focusing on CM Punk when now he has to worry about Wardlow?
And Wardlow, to me, especially since he was on the inside, he knows MJF unlike anybody else. I feel like that's a bigger
The full
threat to
story.
MJF than CM Punk could ever be.
And I think CM Punk now, what needs to happen, there has to be some type of roadblock in CM Punk's way because I don't want him going for the world championship just yet.
Yeah,
Because I know that MJF and Punk both mentioned in promos that like they want to go for the world title. So now with MJF focusing on Wardlow and still looks very strong in this match because basically CM Punk had help from Wardlow
yeah,
because CM Punk just wanted to beat Maxwell. He just wanted to get his hands on him and that's what he wanted. But now with CM Punk, we can't have him go for the world championship just yet.
yeah.
The timing's not right.
There's a time for everything, man. And I've learned to have my full trust in Tony Khan because he's just like us, man. He's a fan, and he knows exactly. He hasn't let anybody. He hasn't let us down yet. He gives us everything that we want.
In Tony, we trust.
And Tony, we trust, man. Salute. No, let me not do that.
Overall, though, great match, and I think that was the perfect ending to the storyline.
Yep.
Great. So now moving on to our next match here, we have for the AEW Women's World Championship, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Thunder Rosa, and the winner of the match, and still AEW Women's World Champion, Dr. Britt Baker. But before we give our opinion about this, what's your thoughts on the new AEW Women's World Champion?
Um, I like it. I like the original a little bit better. It was a little bit more bulky and had a little bit more to it. Um, I mean, it was fine or whatever. I still feel like the women's division in AEW has a lot of work they need to do. I don't feel like they're to where they can be, if that makes sense. Um, but it's all in due time, man. I do. This match was one of the only matches tonight that was sort of a letdown for me. Primarily the ending. It
Yeah.
just had a weird ending that just put me off. You know what I mean?
Everybody that I watched this pay per view with were not fans at all of this match. They said that the Jade Cargill match was better, and that it was coming from a normal fan, not
Yeah.
a We Are Wrestling maniac. And sometimes the normal fans, like they sometimes see stuff that we don't see because we love this sport so much. So like we don't really look at it from that like understanding. Which this match for me was a huge letdown. I think absolutely made no sense whatsoever because wasn't Thunder Rosa aligned with Mercedes Martinez?
Yeah, because Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter turned on him. They were in a match on
Yes.
Dynamite, and they went to shake hands like they're buddy buddy, and then Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter turned on them.
Okay, so now my question is where the hell was Mercedes Martinez during this match? You had Rebel and Jamie Hayter that whole time ruining this match.
I don't know.
That's
Maybe
the
maybe
part that's the part for me that made zero sense at all because Ruby Soho, and which I know the last few weeks Ruby Soho hasn't really been on TV, but before that she was helping. She was very like close friends with Thunder Rosa, so her not being there didn't really make much sense. But the big thing for me was Mercedes Martinez because she's been on TV aligned with Thunder Rosa, and the fact that she's not there to like really help Thunder Rosa out with Rebel and Jamie for me just made no sense at all, and it kind of for me ruined the match in a way.
Yeah, I mean, there was probably there's a rhyme or reason for everything, right? There's probably a bigger story here than me and you are grasping at the moment. Not only did we just watch 4 hours of wrestling, but it's already almost 1:30 in the morning. Um, so maybe, I mean, we're just gonna have to watch the next couple of weeks in Dynamite. Maybe something happens. Maybe a storyline unfolds, and it adds more to the story as the reason why this happened. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of it either. But like I just previously said, I'm not in the business to judge or complain about what Tony Khan wants to do with his show. Tony Khan so far had he's shocked me with the amount of surprises and the amount of fanfare that he's given me. So I'm just gonna let it ride out and
Hey,
see where we
all
go.
hey, all we do, like it's up to like WWE, AEW, all these promotions, how they book their shows. We're just at the end of the day, we are wrestling maniacs. We are fans of this product,
Yep.
and we just use this platform to really just express our opinion, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's all right.
And
And I
hopefully
feel
we
like
find some like-minded people that either agree or disagree in a respectful way.
exactly. Because everybody should deserve to have their own opinion with this. And I think, like, yeah, this wasn't really my cup of tea at all during this. I love Britt Baker's work. I love Thunder Rosa's work. Do not get me wrong. They are
Hmm.
both some of the best women on that AEW roster by far. It just, tonight wasn't the night for them. Their chemistry just wasn't really there fully. And I don't know. Britt Baker's title run has been great. She's defeated so many people, but now it's time to really we need somebody to get that championship off of her pretty soon because there's only so much you can do. And
I don't
right
want
now
her. I don't
she's in
want
that legendary status and everybody else is in a different a level below her
my
in my opinion.
fear. My fear is that she's gonna end up being another Roman Reigns, to where she cheats to get victories. There's nobody above her that is qualified enough to take the title off. Like I don't want that. She's a good champion, but at the end of the day, I think I think she should put somebody over, drop the title to somebody. Obviously, she has a long career. She can obviously win it back at some point. But I feel like until there's somewhat of a story for her, I don't think she should be champion. It should go to wherever.
Ruby Soho,
I wouldn't
get
even
her
necessarily
more
say
matches.
that.
She should be the next champion now, I feel like. I
I
thought
mean,
Thunder Rosa should have been, but
but the
now that
thing
she
is,
lost.
but the thing is, and I say this a lot, especially when a new guy comes in or whatever. I wouldn't put a title on somebody just because they have a name or they did a
Mhm.
certain thing at another company or they had,
Well,
I
no,
feel
like
like they
that.
need to earn it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, that's not kind of like what I'm looking at it like. The way I'm looking at it like is Ruby Soho. She hasn't really fought Britt Baker yet for the championship, and Britt Baker has already gone through a lot of these women. I believe she already beat Nyla Rose. She already beat Rio, who was the first champion. She's already beat Sheeta. She already beat Ty Conti, and now she just beat Thunder Rosa. And for me, I
You know
feel
what I
like
would do?
the only person left is Ruby Soho right now. But I would sign Tessa Blanchard if I were AEW. Just saying, because
Yeah, but
she should be
apparently,
freaking
uh,
world champion.
apparently there's some drama surrounding Tessa Blanchard. She said some racist or something. I don't know the full story there. But what I personally would do is I would continue the story with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa a little bit. Maybe at Double or Nothing, have Britt Baker drop the title to Thunder Rosa, have her have a good run with it. I would sort of set up a feud between her and Ruby Soho, and maybe around the summertime or whatever, like All In or All Out or whatever, I would have Thunder Rosa, when the time is right, drop the title to Ruby Soho, put Ruby Soho over, and let it continue, gradually continue like that. There always has to be a story, man. You can't just have a title just because you're a certain person or you're a certain athlete or whatever. Like, if it doesn't make sense to the story, it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, which one of the most like observed things I've heard today, and like I feel like it made me like more tired when I heard this, and I lost brain cells from this. So my brother,
Yep.
he
Do I
said,
want? Do I want to hear this?
yeah, you're gonna laugh about this, I think,
Oh
and I feel like
God.
we need this with the lack of sleep that we've gotten with this big show here. So yeah, with my brother, he was watching, and then he said to me, he says, I can't stand the freaking storylines. I just want to watch the wrestling matches. And then I'm like, what's the point in watching the wrestling match without a build up?
I mean, if you want to watch just
Because the
people
whole
beat
time,
the fuck out
the
of
whole,
each other, watch UFC.
yeah, and literally the whole time, like he was trying to like talk about UFC and stuff, and I'm like, how was last night's UFC show compared to this show?
Yeah.
And then yeah, he had
Um,
nothing to say about that because I heard
UFC
that they really sucked last night from what I heard.
UFC is obviously a whole different ballgame, and people that are fans of UFC and that are just casual fans of pro wrestling, they don't
Yeah,
quite understand. You know what I mean? I feel like you have to have some kind of passion for this business to really look at it from different angles instead of just one set mind frame.
mhm,
So I mean, I'm not gonna bash your brother. Obviously, I understand where he's coming from because streaming. You meet a lot of people like that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he has his opinion. We have our opinion, and we can just
oh
leave it at
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I just thought it was a little bit funny to talk about there. All right, so now moving on to our next match of the night. John Moxley versus Brian Danielson. John Moxley defeats Brian Danielson. How did
Yeah.
you feel about the match?
I love the match. I'm kind of conflicted on the ending because the ending. Um. Brian Danielson pretty much got DQ'd because he didn't let go of a submission move when Moxley was on the ropes or whatever. Or at least that's what I got at it. Maybe I didn't see
No, I
something.
think you did because what happened was when he got to the ropes, he did some type of like weird pin that like technical wrestling like they consider a pinfall, and
Yeah,
basically like John Moxley got this really weird pin on Brian Danielson, so the crowd didn't really understand that too much, but then Moxley ended up getting the win from that.
yeah. Um, very weird, but I like the match, man.
I called it. I called Moxley winning it though. I'm happy about that.
I can't remember what I said in the prediction video. I think I
Yeah,
said, I think I said Moxley at first, and then I was like, well, maybe this was one of the matches that wasn't that predictable because I mean,
yeah.
they're both quote unquote main event guys. I mean, the thing I love about AEW is it's not predictable. Like in WWE or certain instances, you can be like, oh, that guy's gonna win. Like they put the title on Ricochet. That's only because I'm pretty sure they're planning on having Johnny Knoxville pin Sami Zayn at WrestleMania to make Sami Zayn look like an asshole. But
Yeah.
WWE doesn't want to put the IC title on Johnny Knoxville, so they had
I'm very
Ricochet.
surprised by that.
Yeah, but why else would they put the title on Ricochet even though they've been burying him for like
Hey, I
six
heard
months?
I heard that he's going to be getting a mega push now. But we'll see. It'll probably be only 3 weeks.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that. I was only using it
Yeah.
as sort of like a reference point. But I liked the match, man. It was brutal. There was a lot of, at first starting out they did like a lot of like technician style wrestling. You know what I mean? Like a lot of drop down toe holds and like choke holds and stuff like that. And then like probably like 15 minutes into the match it really started to pick up. Um Overall, it was good. There was one little botch that I saw. It wasn't necessarily a botch, but it was something I noticed. Um, when Brian Danielson started bleeding, you could clear as day see him hand something to the referee, and the referee grabbed it and threw it out the ring. I mean, blading guy,
Yeah.
like
Kind of like when MJF was under the friggin' mat there, like it made it very obvious. Like the camera's on Punk for like 2 minutes and MJF's probably down there like it won't go.
it's just little things like that, man. They need
Yeah.
to they need to work a little bit on their camera angles. Like, if this certain thing is going to happen in the match or whatever, and to expand the disbelief, I mean, cut to a different angle, or whatever, so it can't visibly be seen by everybody.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Yeah, so my thoughts on this match: great match overall. I think Moxley getting the win over Bryan like it did. I felt like it was cool because then you got to see the two freaking beating each other up. But then it's so weird because I was so behind on my reaction because like after
Yeah.
the match I didn't really think of anything that was gonna happen. Maybe like, oh, they're gonna be tag team, so I didn't really think about having the camera on.
Yeah.
Because then security came out and I'm like, oh, here comes typical professional wrestling. You got your security guards. You're just going to push them to the side, and they're probably just going to beat them up, and that's it.
Yep.
But William Regal came out,
Dude, I
and
marked the fuck out, man.
and he slapped the shit out of them two in the face. And I was like saying in my reaction, I was like, oh, I'm shaking whoever's hand if William Regal freaking smacks me across the face.
Dude, like I marked like if you go back and watch my stream, like when that happened, like I just started screaming. My window was open, like I thought one of my neighbors was gonna like call the cops, and like I marked the fuck out. I was like Regal, like it was just a very proud moment, especially since um I heard somewhere that he wasn't interested in working anywhere else because he has such a love and diehard
I heard he
friendship with the
signed with Impact
McMahons. And
Wrestling, which I guess didn't happen because he's signed with AEW officially.
what if Tony Khan hires him on to do some stuff on AEW, but also is like someone like the commissioner, or the guy that puts together the matches for Ring of Honor? There's always that. Maybe he's a part of this tag this stable between with Moxley and Danielson. Maybe he's like
Which
sort of their
that is something
manager.
I feel like that's why they did that, because I feel like that's what they're gonna kind of do with Regal for AEW television. I feel like it makes a lot of sense because Bryan Danielson has always been inspired by William Regal. A lot of his gear, if you notice, in almost every gear he wears, has maroon in it, and
Hmm.
that's in honor of William Regal because William, he loved his maroon.
Yep.
It's like Orange Cassidy loves his oranges.
Yeah.
So with William Regal, I think, and Moxley had some history with them. I felt like they had some classic matches in FCW, and Regal always like scouted Moxley and kind of took him under his wing because William Regal was an agent, so like he would go like to these shows and watch Moxley wrestle and stuff, and kind of trained him and took him under his wing. So I think if they were going to make an alliance with Danielson and Moxley, having William Regal, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because if
I
there's
think
one
it's
person
gonna
that's gonna
happen.
keep him, if there's one person that's going to keep them friggin'
From
working
killing each
together,
other.
William Regal.
It was
Something
it
that
was
my
just
Nets need.
it was just funny. Like he slapped the piss out of him, and then he was like, "You come here, you come here." And then I believe they shook hands or whatever, and just
Yeah,
Regal just has that power to him. You know what I mean? I feel like this is fucking great, man. It's so
this is a nice
fantastic.
look. As long as they can make this a nice slow build like they kind of did with Kenny Omega and Hangman, this could really work out. And this could be something really special. I think that it's good that they're not like exactly thrown into a tag team, but
Yep.
having like William Regal now being like, you're gonna shake his effing hand, like that right there, great way to start this
You
whole
gotta have
story.
that. You gotta have that build to it.
You have to continue to climb, and this was the perfect. William Regal created the steps for them to climb.
And I love how he just came out like as if he was just like somebody from the back or whatever. No music, no nothing. He didn't even come down to the ramp. He came out like the side or whatever. And I was like, oh my god. It took me a second. It took me I had to glance at him for a minute. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? William Regal and AEW? William Regal's all elite, man.
I'm so happy by this because he's also such a really good veteran in this business. And I think a lot of their young guys, a lot of their originals, can definitely use his knowledge and make themselves better professional wrestlers.
I would love to be a fly on the wall seeing Vince McMahon find out for the first time that William Regal's over at the competition. He's probably fucking,
Eh,
he's probably
Vince
fucking.
doesn't care anymore.
He's probably
I feel
throwing. He's probably fucking throwing the fucking golden egg around his office, having a tantrum.
Yep. So now, moving on to our next match before the main event, we had Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting versus Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy.
Oh
And
my
the winners of
god,
this
dude.
match was Darby, Sammy, and Sting.
Oh my fucking god, man. Like
Going into
we're
this match, I thought that it was gonna be like one of those just fillers, and then next thing you know, Sting's jumping off the friggin' thing onto somebody into the tables, and this match, like, wow, this was beyond good,
yeah.
better than I thought it was going to
At
be.
the beginning of the match, I paused my stream or whatever, and I went to use the bathroom, and I come back, all this crazy shit's happening, and I'm like, what the fuck did I miss, man? Like, I was wondering all night. I was like, it's kind of weird that this match is so high up on the card. Like, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. But I told you during my prediction video that obviously, the Hardy family office were gonna lose because Jeff Hardy's gonna be coming in very soon, and this was a way for them to sort of separate Matt Hardy from them. I feel like it's gonna finally come to a close on Dynamite on Wednesday. I did hear from Sean Ross Sapp. This is a little exclusive. I don't know if you found out yet. Jeff Hardy is scheduled to be at Dynamite on Wednesday. Whether he's going to be on the show is yet to be seen. But I heard that he was going to at least be at the show. Maybe because that's when his 90 days ends. So, he's maybe going there this week or whatever to, meet everybody, meet Tony Khan, see everybody or whatever. I
Can
don't
I
know if
make a
he's going to be on
Dynamite
the show,
prediction?
but huh?
Can I make a Dynamite prediction real quick?
If it's probably the same thing as me. Matt Hardy
Yeah,
gets beat up by Andrade, and Jeff
Jeff
Hardy ends
Cobb.
up coming out.
Yes, I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, wrestling minds think alike. I think that this was a very fun match overall. I thought it was really cool to, see Isaiah Cassidy actually get this opportunity to be in the ring with this because I know Mark Quinn, I think, is dealing with a little injury, but he looks good now. But I think
Yep.
that this is just this was a fun match, and it's really cool to see Sting do his thing
Private
and
Party
see
has a lot of history with Blitzkrieg Pro, don't they?
who.
Private Party has a lot of history with Blitzkrieg Pro.
Yes, they were Blitzkrieg originals. I actually saw my first time ever seeing Private Party was it was just a battle royal match, and they were just in it.
I saw a video on YouTube where there was like a chicken match or whatever, and they were on like each other's like shoulders or whatever, and they were fighting. I can't remember who they were fighting, but I saw it on
Yeah,
YouTube from like 6 years ago.
yeah, they did a lot of work for Blitzkrieg, those two, and
It's awesome, man.
it's so cool to see them, Chris Statlander, Smart Mark Sterling, MJF doing all these big things. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And this match was great. And like Andrade, I've been really a fan. I've been actually enjoying his work ever since doing the whole family office thing. And I feel like it's going to be way better when he's running it because he has that mafia like boss look to him
Yeah.
where like he can control everybody. And I think, Private Party eventually can move on from him. And I think keeping Butcher and Blade with Andrade will be really good and to like add like a maybe like a Miro or a big guy in there could make this family office thing work even more. And I think Matt being back with Jeff, that gives it a great reason because the Hardy Boys. So it's a
And I
win-win.
heard I heard that Matt Hardy is interested in bringing back the Broken Universe stuff at some point, which I think will definitely be a possibility because not only does Jeff want to, explore the avenues as Willow, the character that he was on the Indies,
Yeah.
but Impact technically owns the Broken Universe, but AEW has somewhat of a working relationship with them. So I'm interested in finding out what happens with that. And I
Here's
believe Matt Hardy's the one that got pinned on this match, which
yes, it was.
escalates the story.
Yeah. And here's like also what I think too. I feel like with this whole broken universe thing, this will probably happen at some point in a rivalry. And I feel like the rivalry most likely will be like House of Black and like the Hardy Boys, and that's like
Yeah,
when Willow and like Broken Matt come, and it'll be a cool like one-off thing for them, like for like All Out or something.
yeah.
And like you'll hear like the original like I Fade and like Obsolete, and like people are gonna I think really dig that a lot. if Jeff comes to AEW, man, I want to see a fucking Jeff Hardy Darby Allin match at least at some point.
Dude.
That
That
would be amazing.
speaking of Darby Allin, that's one thing that that was sort of a botch to me
So,
when he did the coffin drop.
yeah,
He
that was
barely hit him.
disappointing. That disappointed me. I was like, wow. That's like the only thing in that match. But besides that, it
The
was
match
good.
was great.
So now, before we get into the main event, what were your thoughts on Isaiah Swerve Scott, or I believe he's going by Isaiah Strickland now?
Maybe Shane Strickland,
I think so. Shane
something like
Strickland.
that.
Yeah. So how did you feel about Strickland's AEW debut?
It took me a little while to figure out who it was. I was never a huge Hit Row guy, and I stopped watching NXT a while ago, man.
Yeah.
So I was never in the realm of watching Hit Row. I watched a little bit of what they did on WWE SmackDown, which wasn't a lot at all. But it's cool that he's with AEW, and I said it on my stream or whatever. I feel like because AEW has such a jam packed roster, and ROH is technically an AEW product. I feel like a lot of these newer guys like Isaiah Swerve Scott, like Sammy Callahan, like a lot of these guys that have a name but they're not like mega stars or whatever. I feel like those should be ROH guys, and then obviously whenever they're needed, come to AEW and do what they got to do or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Khan owns ROH, but there's no roster yet. He hasn't signed anybody. So I feel like a lot of these newer guys, primarily once they get a TV deal, they should go to ROH, and then
Yeah.
every other week or whatever, maybe have a match on Dark or on Elevation or Rampage or whatever to get your name out more. And then once you hit that peak of your career, you're ready, you're over with the fans, everybody loves you or whatever, which a lot of people do love these guys. But I mean, they're not like a Matt Hardy, they're not a Wyndham Rotunda, they're not a CM Punk, a Bryan Danielson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like what I think about the debut went beyond my expectations because going into this, I really thought that like he was just gonna get signed because of his talents,
Yeah.
which I still think is the case. But I really did see some character and some charisma out of him in this. Like I really like that, like the real and stuff. And then
Yep.
like whose house, like I thought that was really cool as well. Nice little thing. Like the crowd clearly has been paying attention to him because it looked like that this pay per view was a bunch of freaking We Are Wrestling maniacs that love professional wrestling. So a lot of them have been paying attention clearly to what Isaiah's been doing, and I think that this was a really good first promo.
Yeah.
I would like
Or
to see a vignette though. I'm tired of just seeing them come up all the time and they just do this. Get me some vignettes of something because that's like really missing.
you know where they have vignettes? Monday Night Raw with Veer Mahan.
Oh,
I
don't
mean
get me
that
started on don't get
that
me started on Veer Mahan. It's 1:30 as we're recording this.
but yeah, I mean I'm happy that he's there. But like I said, I feel like there's a lot of guys that Tony Khan does want to bring in. I mean, sooner or later he's gonna have to pick and choose who he where he wants some of these guys. Does he want them all on the main roster? Does he want switch out some of the talents on Dark or whatever, bring some talents from Dark up,
What toy
and then
do you want to play with?
pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
but overall it was cool.
All right, so now let's get into our main event here. We had the
Finally,
AEW World Championship match. We had Adam Hangman Page defending the title against Adam Cole Bay, and we have still our AEW World Champion Adam Hangman Page, which, by the way, everybody in this show retained their championships. How did you
I
feel
know.
about this match and
Um,
the booking?
I liked it. I don't know much about I guess there was some story to the match or whatever that added some that humility factor to what is going on between these two guys. but I don't know like a lot of like their origin story. You know what I mean? Like a lot of like, did they have like a feud when they were on like an indie promotion or whatever? Like did it, have they
Yeah,
always
like
had bad blood or whatever?
yeah,
I don't.
like one thing I will say. Sorry for interrupting. One of the things I will say that was very weird is how they were talking about how they were roommates at one point and like how they were friends. Where in their video package was there pictures of them as young wrestlers or
Yeah.
like as like roommates? Like, where's the evidence there? That is something that I feel like if you're going to tell a story, especially for your world heavyweight champion, you need to have that stuff.
Yep.
Because
It
if
was
not, then your words crap.
it was definitely lackluster to a degree. I definitely understand. But overall, I
That's
like
great.
as an in ring match, as a world title match. It definitely lived up to expectations or whatever. I definitely liked the ending because as you saw on Dynamite on Wednesday, Adam and Red Dragons they duct taped Adam Page's arms to the
Hmm.
top rope, and
He used
Adam
the belt.
Page he used his belt to do a similar spot to Adam Cole, and they were just pretty much again. There's a lot of super kicking. That
Yeah,
buckshot lariat though almost knocked Adam Cole in the next week.
man, that finisher is like one of the best finishers in AEW, like easily. So different and like who the hell would have thought that? Like just doing a flip over the rope and clotheslining the hell out of somebody would be so like a really good finisher.
I guess it gives you that momentum and that speed or whatever to make it a devastating maneuver. Because when you flip and then once you hit the ground, you immediately start running. Like that's a lot of fucking momentum from doing a flip and
Mhm.
then going straight. Like I mean, I would imagine that's why he chose it as his finishing maneuver.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's different. A lot of people like have to do finishers that have already been done before, but this buckshot lariat, I feel like I've never seen it from anybody. So, like, how he came up with that was really incredible. This match really could have gone both ways. Like, there was times where I'm like, Adam Cole's gonna win this, baby, but then I'm like, damn, Adam Hangman Page is gonna return this championship.
I told you during the prediction video, I believe. I was like, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be wise to give Adam Cole the title right now. Maybe at Double or Nothing, or maybe a couple months down the line or whatever. But I feel like Adam Page, he still has a lot to offer as a champion. Like he's
Yeah,
defended the championship twice, 2 weeks in a row. Once in a 60-minute Iron Man match with Danielson, and then I think the next week he defeated him in 45 minutes. He's a fighting champion. I still think he has a lot to offer. It wouldn't have been a
yeah,
smart
I think so
business
too.
move to take the title off him this quick.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm actually starting to really like the run even more the last couple weeks, especially how they started off Dynamite with him that one week, I think, which was like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I really actually have been enjoying his run this far. At first, it was kind of like slow because it's like, okay, where's like cowboy shit?
Yep.
And then he shut me up 2 weeks ago when he came out and like just hijacked the beginning of the show and said, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you a story and stuff." That's the cowboy
It's
shit
story
that
time with
all
Adam
the fans,
Page, baby.
that all the fans, that's the Adam Page that they got over.
Yep.
That's how he got over, and that's what you don't fix something that's not broken. And
I
with
definitely agree.
Adam Page, I'm glad that he's got this momentum back. And I think Adam Cole losing this match is a good thing because it creates tension with the elite. And hopefully Kenny Omega can come back and then we can get the Adam Cole Kenny rivalry.
I would even say when Kenny Omega does come back, maybe have him have him implemented into the storyline somewhere. Maybe have it be a triple threat, and then possibly maybe then having Adam Cole get the victory. I mean, you could always do that. That would be a match for the ages.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the only way Adam Hangman Page is going to lose at this point. If it's a triple threat, fatal four way, or even like you have to like kill him pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty much. But overall, man, it was a great match. It went about what, like 45 minutes almost.
It was
Um,
a nice long.
It didn't seem that long though. It flowed really nicely. There were no botches in the match. Red Dragons came out. They tried to interfere the best they could, and we saw how well that turned out. But overall, man, it was a good match. The whole entire show, obviously, besides the obvious Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa match, every match on the card was a hit for me. I fucking love the show, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is. Remember when I said I consider this my WrestleMania? I pretty much, definitely was right on why I said that.
Yeah, and I thought that this match was great. The ending was great. I loved all like the one spot I loved so much in this match was when Adam Cole, when it was two, and then he got like the tip of his fingers on the rope. That I never saw that before ever.
Yeah,
And just this match, like there were so many great spots and the storytelling was great. The only thing for me that was an issue was just that vignette, like the build up, like talking about how they were friends and not having the evidence to show that. But
yeah,
overall, this was a great show. Absolutely great. Like, this is easily going to be so much better than WrestleMania night one and night two, including freaking Raw after Mania. This right here was one of the best AEW pay per views. My only critique that I have about it is it did go on a little too long, but a lot of fight night stuff goes on long like this.
yeah.
Boxing, it does that, and
But you have to
hey,
think about all the every single match almost was main event caliber. You know what I mean?
hey, you are right about that. But I will like that's the thing, like, but that's how you know how talented a lot of these people are when you have a crowd that's quiet, like Adam and the Adam match. They were quiet, but then you got them to chant "Fight Forever," and when I hear "Fight Forever," that's a 5-star match.
Yeah.
So if you can get a crowd from being literally crickets to saying "Fight Forever," you have talent.
Exactly. The only thing I would say about this show as a whole is if it wasn't for the women's title, I would have definitely swapped out the Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa match, put that on the pre-show, and then put one of the pre-show matches on the main card. Then it would have been 10 stars all fucking day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was overall it was a good show though. You can't say it wasn't a good show just
and
because of that one match.
No, and that's the thing. Overall, this was a great match. The matches that I thought weren't going to be as good went beyond my expectations. I love how William Regal came because that was out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Because they spotted it perfectly. Had security come so that you're like, oh, here we go. But then having William Regal come, it's like it took people 5 seconds to say, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I freaked the
but
fuck out, man.
Well, like when it comes to like the show overall, like I'm not going to let the women's championship ruin this entire show because it was great. And both of the women that did not have a good match, it was just a bad night, honestly. And I
Yep.
think maybe timing, like if they opened the show off like Jericho and Kingston did, maybe it would have been a whole different situation. But unfortunately, sometimes, you get put at the wrong time. Sometimes the chemistry just isn't there. It's not your night, and that's okay.
I mean, we both know what these women are capable of. I mean, everybody's entitled to have one bad night. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna hold it against them. I just, hope next time, things go according to plan and it ends up a lot better than it was.
I'm hoping as well. But this show was really good. One of the best AEW pay per views easily. Yes, sir. Now it's time to go to bed and close this
Yes.
pay-per-view review off here because literally in like 4 hours of timing, recording plus the editing, I'm probably going to be running off like 2 hours of sleep for
I would
work. But
honestly
that's
just I would honestly just put a quick edit together and then while you're sleeping have it render. That way you can post it in the morning before you go to work.
yeah, that's what I was gonna do. So, guys, if you enjoyed this, we are wrestling pay per view review for AEW Revolution 2022. Make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you love professional wrestling like Danny and myself, help support this channel by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. The links are down in the description below. You can go follow Danny on his YouTube channels and his Twitter and Instagram. And also, you can go follow me on my other YouTube channels and my Instagram and Twitter. The links are all down in the description below, including the We Are Wrestling Instagram and Twitter. And guys, if us, talking about wrestling at 2 in the morning doesn't mean the grind is real, then I don't know what else will convince you.
Hopefully
But
the next pay-per-view will be on a Saturday to where it's Sunday. Donnie won't have to work the next day, and it won't feel. I feel like this review might have felt a little bit rushed, but it's also our first one, So hopefully the next one we'll be able to go more in detail. Plus, I believe the next one is WrestleMania. So,
and I think I learned my lesson from this before pay-per-views. On a Sunday, I gotta take a nap. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.